Hello! I have quite the weird set today because I played a tournament pretty recently and I ended up muting the VC in the middle of it. And now I have a bunch of footage where I played extremely well, but I have no VC behind it, which kinda sucks. But I thought these games were very interesting because I played more of a supportive role with my team today. And I think it went really well for these two games, especially since this was against a pretty good team with a very good comp. So I tried to transition into more of a supportive role with the Decavitator. I ended up playing off angles and just hitting people maybe one or two times and then leaving. Like I tried to hit someone here, I instantly jump out. And then I go back into the play. I thought I had killed the S-Blast here, but looking back on this, I actually hit it twice. And now I'm playing with Nolan's Kraken. I'm going to keep it safe, and I'm more of playing like a frontline whenever I have cooler up, because when I have cooler up, I should be taking more aggressive angles because the risk of me dying is not as bad as anymore. I actually told Nolan to stop turning around because we already killed the guys on top right, but it's alright. And now we have so much top left control here. And now I'm saying, like, you know, we can just chill here. I'm going to try to look for damage. I'm going to throw bombs. I'm going to look for more damage. I'm going to paint. I'm going to slowly try to get my bubble. At this point, I notice we don't have any specials, but Shadow finds a kill here, which is massive. Because if we didn't find a kill anytime soon, we likely would have had to give up zone. So now, we have so much space, and I am still just painting and throwing bombs. I wish I noticed the flank here, because looking at this in VOD, I actually see the person going on the bottom left wall, but I didn't see it during the game. And since I was just playing passive and farming my next bubble, even though it took forever, just keep painting, keep controlling space, and I hit this slosher with 2 melee hits, and they don't die. 2 melee hits. Awesome. Now I felt more like I just existed in this game. That was my goal, that was my purpose. I needed to make sure people were at 60 HP or 20 HP from my hits, since I do 40 to 80 damage. And generally that's fine. I made the S-Blast and the edit weak at the beginning. I tried to pull them bottom right, instantly came back. I think I did alright this game, but I actually have a lot more interest in the next one. The next game starts on humpback zones, which is a little more awkward for Decavitator, since Decavitator likes playing on more flat ground, and all these like curvy areas and slants make it a lot more difficult to find my charge slashes than my normal ones. But I actually started to really like Decavitator on this map, and I think it became when I got a lot more comfortable with dash slashing off of high ground and hitting people with a shot on the way down. Now I'm still playing this supportive role. I'm just throwing bombs into the choke points, painting the zone, and Nolan's dead. So now at this point I'm just trying to make sure that the blue team doesn't take as much space as they can. Now I have a cooler so I can look for a kill if I find one, and I see the S-Blast. I am sad that I end up trading here, but this trade was okay because I come back, I'll have bubble, and we already have our 2 other guys in mid. Nolan finds 2 very important kills, and we have our first advantage state in this game. Me and Nolan end up playing on the left side to do 20 trillion damage, while Shadow and Basil are flanking on the right. What this does is, because there is a tent and a pencil on the right, they cannot push them. That is a giant shield. So then they have to drop on me and Nolan on the left when we're doing 20 trillion damage. My goal right now is to throw bombs, paint Nolan's feet, and shoot anyone that drop zones Nolan. Because the problem with S-Blast is it can get drop zoned here at this point, although many S-Blast players will be very proactive about this. Sometimes things will happen, things will go wrong. Maybe there'll be multiple people that drop zone Nolan. That's the most common thing to happen, and usually I'll be there. For this point, I just make sure we don't lose zone, and then I go back to helping Nolan. I'm just painting around him, I'm looking for people that drop zone him. But I notice they're going to drop on the right, so now I transition back to holding zone. I want Shadow and Basil to play aggressively here, so I just focus on the zone. I end up not being able to cap because they used Tri-Strike and a Booyah Bomb. Now I try to go back to help Nolan, but I took too long killing the S-Blast. On the bright side, I still get to hold this space, and Shadow calls out the slosher on the right, and then they're gone. So now I'm like, okay, I need to keep contesting left hump, but I can't go that close, because if I die, we lose so much space. I notice they're focusing the right now because they think they have some time, I'm going to keep throwing bombs there, going to keep pressure on them, and the bombs are helping a lot, I think. I call to Nolan that I think the edit's going to drop on the left side, but this is very unfortunate because I don't end up hitting my first or second shot, and I think Nolan's AoE shot on the first one didn't hit. It was very unfortunate. We do end up holding zone for a while, but then I need to give it up because it's more important for me to live than for me to hold zone. I actually end up missing a shot here, but since Nolan is here around, it's our weapons combo very well together. I noticed that they're trying to push into the left hump, and I get a little worried that they're trying to flank us on the left, because if they get out of this little pincer hold that we have, we're going to have a lot of problems. I end up wanting to fight these two guys, but I see 3 people with coolers, so I end up backing down, and I find a kill on the slosher. I realize the edit's trying to flank, find a kill on them, and their escape attempt is not allowed. We get to still hold the zone. I can't stop this, though. They've popped 2 tri-strikes and a booyah bomb. I try to paint a little bit, but honestly, I should have just given up. It's so many specials. Nolan ends up finding 2, like the goat he is. I hit the slosher once. The slosher's at 30 HP, and now he will die to anything, like, you know, Nolan S-Blast. I need to end up... I realized I was on the right side and tried to switch back to Nolan. I started painting around him. I put bubble up to save us, but Nolan was already about to die. If I was there sooner, instead of looking at the right, Nolan didn't even need to jump out. But we're in our fantastic positions. I realize Basil drops, and I ask her to just push up on the top right again. So she does, and I keep throwing bombs. I noticed that we're about to lose zone again, but Nolan has booyah bomb, so I ask him to throw a booyah bomb into zone, and now I can just paint while the booyah's going off. And then I see another booyah bomb. This team tried to insta-cap zone so many times. It was so annoying, but I understood why, because it's humpback zones. There's so much paint spam on this map. But I thought it was interesting because if you didn't notice, I really didn't hold forward into anybody really. I kind of swam backwards or I swam to the side. The only times I really held forward is when someone was fighting Nolan, when they aren't looking at me. A lot of the time, I've noticed that I've been fighting, whenever I fight in higher levels to top level lobbies and I dash slash into people or I swim into them, I get punished very hard. And I try to avoid that. And what I started doing was playing more supportive. Now my point for this video isn't to say you start playing this weapon like a Splash-O-Matic or a Junior. I think this falls into more of the dualies category, because dualies right now is being played more like a support weapon, and I think Decavitator is a much more aggressive version of that. Because it does so much damage, it commands so much space. While I think this works for my team, I think this is all very contextual. I think the support Decavitator is what works for us, and I'm very happy that it works with us. But there are times where I'll be very aggressive. For example, this team doesn't have a lot to deal with me. They have a lot to deal with Bubble because they have their own Decavitator and they have tri-strikes, but they don't have a lot of like damage to hit through like past walls, so I just command a bunch of space on the right. I'm just like, you can't deal with me. I will stand behind wall, I will shoot you and run away. So yeah, I shoot at the pen, run away. I shoot at the new splash, run away. I realize the new splash is close to me, so I start fighting again, but you know, you get the point. There's definitely times where I'm just gonna need to be scrapping, and honestly, right now I'm not really moving from this spot. I'm just chilling on the right side of the map. But they aren't getting me out, so I need to keep holding it because it is mine, and I will make it horrible and hell for them to get me out of it. I think that's the strength of Decavitator that a lot of other weapons wouldn't have, is that you can just exist and pressure without being fearful of death, because your opponents need to respect you. If you are a Decavitator, if people run into you, they will die. It is a simple truth, especially since the hitbox is so big. I mostly made this video because I haven't really been catching up a bit on my YouTube, and I want to, but I've been a little bit more, well, busy because I've been trying to find a full-time job, and honestly, I wanted to find a full-time job while focusing on competing at the same time, and trying to focus on so many things really messed me up, so I essentially tried to focus on finding a job and trying to get better with my team. And I think we got a lot better. I'm very happy with our progress. And I think part of it is because I tried to transition myself from a frontline Decavitator to a more supportive one. While I don't think this will work for everyone, especially since Decavitator is still a sword, it still can be played like a very strong frontline, and I end up playing it like a frontline whenever I play in pickups. I find a lot of strength in this weapon whenever I try to play it more. as a supplement, as a way to make my teammates feel exponentially stronger by playing around them and making them more powerful by making everything that's around them weak. I will try, I will make a portion of the Decavitator guide to talking about how to play this weapon supportively, because I think it is a very important part of this weapon. And it's something I wouldn't have understood if I had to make this guide a month ago. So maybe it's a good thing I didn't make the guide a month ago if I got 10,000 subscribers. But I will start doing my best with YouTube again, and I hope you all enjoyed.